Good morning, my dear students. How are you all? Okay. Fine. So in the last class, we have studied about the various types of organism. In the last class, we have studied about the various types of organism. We have studied the biotic components. We have studied about autotrophs. We have studied about heterotrophs. What are autotrophs? Autotrophs are the organism that prepare their own food. What are the autotrophs? Autotrophs are the organism that prepare their own food. Only example of autotrophs? The only example of autotroph is the green plant. The only example of autotroph is the green plant because they prepare their own food. By which process they prepare their own food? The process through which they prepare their own food with the help of chlorophyll, sunlight and oxygen is known as photosynthesis, the process by which green plant prepare their own food in the presence of chlorophyll, sunlight, water and oxygen and is known as carbon dioxide is known as photosynthesis. Next we have studied about heterotrophs. So what are the heterotrophs? Heterotrophs are the organisms which do not prepare their own food, which do not prepare their own food or depend on other organisms for their food. What are heterotrophs? Heterotrophs are the organisms which depend on the other organism for their food. Can you suggest the types of heterotrophs? So there are four heterotrophs we have studied. Primary consumer, that are herbivorous. What are primary consumers? That eat only or that feed only on plants are called herbivores or the primary consumers. The organism which eat only plants are called the herbivores or the primary consumer. Next we have studied about the secondary consumer. So secondary consumers are the organism, or we can also call them as omnivores. That we can also call them as carnivores, or the organism which eat the flesh of other animals like lion, tiger. These all eat the flesh of other organisms. Next we have studied about tertiary consumers. So tertiary consumers include your omnivores. Tertiary consumers include your omnivores that eat both flesh and plant products. Example: human beings, cats and dogs. These all comes under the omnivores. Next we have studied about the scavengers and decomposers. Next we have studied about the scavengers and decomposers. What are the scavengers? Scavengers are the organisms that feed on dead plant and animal. What are the scavengers? Scavengers are the animals or the organisms that feed on dead plant and animal. Example: vulture or jackal. Vulture or jackal depend on the dead organism for their food. Next we are talking about the decomposers. What are the decomposers? Decomposers are the organisms that feed on decaying organic matter. The organisms which feed on decaying organic matters are called the decomposers. Example: microbes and fungi. So this was the quick revision of the what we have studied in the previous class. Now we will study about. So these was the types of organisms. Today we are studying how the interaction takes place. Interaction between abiotic to biotic. How the abiotic factors help the biotic factors. So we will study about how do the abiotic factors helps the biotic factors. What are the abiotic factors? The abiotic factors includes the non-living organism or the non-living component of the environment. What are the abiotic? Abiotics are the non-living components of the environment. What are the biotic? Biotic are the living components of the environment. So just what are the abiotic factors we will learn? So abiotic factors include your light, that is from sun, light, temperature. These are all abiotic factors. Air, water and soil. My dear students, these are the abiotic factors we see in our daily life. So how these abiotic factor helps the biotic factors? So how do this abiotic factor helps the biotic factors? We will see each one by one. We will see each their dependency, how each of them helps the biotic factors for their survival. How each helps the biotic factor for their survival. So just we will see this, okay, one by one. So first we will see about light. First we will see about light. First we will see about how the light helps the. So first comes here light. What is the use of light? First of all, what is the use of light? So light helps us to see. Light makes the things visible. What is the use of light? Light helps, the first use of things is light helps to make the things visible. Suppose if there is no light, what will happen? We will not be able to see anything. So first use of light is to make the things visible. What is the first use of light? Light helps the things to make visible. Next, the use of light. So my dear student, just before seeing the next use, just recall out the definition of photosynthesis. What is the photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is a process in which green plant make their own food in the presence of chlorophyll, sunlight. So again, it helps in the photosynthesis. So the next use of the light is it helps in photosynthesis. So another use of the light is for the photosynthesis. And third, so how it helps in the photosynthesis, my dear students? When the sunlight falls on the green leaves, the green leaf have a pigment. The green leaf have a pigment called chlorophyll. The green leaves contain a pigment called chlorophyll. This chlorophyll trap this light. This chlorophyll trap this sunlight and convert this sunlight into energy. Chlorophyll convert sunlight into heat energy, which helps in the preparation of food. So my dear students, light also helps in the photosynthesis. What is the use of light for the biotic factors? The most important use of the light is for the photosynthesis, because plants prepare their own food with the help of light. Suppose if light will not be there, none of the green plant will survive. And the green plant may die, and all of the green plant will die. Or if the green plant will die, there will be no survival of the life on earth. Suppose if the green plant will not be there, so there will be no life possible on the earth. So there is no life possible on the earth. So green plant, this sunlight is very necessary for the photosynthesis, because if photosynthesis will not take place, there will be no green plant, and if there will be no green plant, there will be no life. Okay, next. Third use, we can say, and the most important use is plants. This light helps the bird to migrate. What is a migrate? These birds used to move from one place to another when in various conditions. Birds move from one place to another. What is this birds do? Birds move from one place to another. So this light helps the birds to move from one place to another. This light helps the birds to move from one place to another. So we can say birds helps this light helps the birds to migrate. So what was the things we have seen? The uses of light. The three uses of light are: light makes the things visible. Lights make the things visible. Suppose if there will be no light, we will not be able to see anything. Okay. Next important use of the light is it helps in the photosynthesis. My dear students, if there will be no light, there will be no green plant, there will be no food for the green plant, and if there will be no food for the green plant, the plant will die, and if the plant will die, there will be no life possible on the earth. Third and foremost important topic is birds also migrate with the daylight of the sun. So birds also migrate with the help of the light. So these are the three important uses of the light. Okay, my dear students. Next important uses of the next we will see about the temperature. First of all, my dear students, what is the temperature? First, before knowing temperature, before knowing the use of the temperature, first of all, we must know what is the temperature. Temperature means the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. Degree of hotness or coldness of a body. This just means, what is this line means? Temperature means that how hot or cold is any body. Suppose if I am if I am having fever, what is the temperature of my body? I will be hot. So this temperature tells us that how hot or how cold the body is. So what is temperature? Temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of a body, or we can say temperature also tells us that how hot or cold the body is. How hot or cold the body is. Okay, my dear students. Next, what is the use of temperature? What we can say that what is the use of the temperature? So, my dear student, the use of the temperature is my dear students, what is the use of temperature? So, temperature determines that which plant or species can survive, which organism we will say, or which organism can survive in a particular environment, which organism can survive in any environment. So, what is the use of a temperature? Temperature determines that what kind of organism can survive in a particular environment. Like we can say that polar bear only exists in the polar region. Polar bear only exists in the polar region. It cannot survive in the normal condition of here. It cannot survive in the hot climate. It cannot survive in the hot climate. Whereas some of the like we humans cannot survive in very cold areas for a longer duration without any equipment. We cannot survive in the polar region without any equipment. We cannot survive in the polar region because our body is not fit for that. So the temperature indicates that which type of organism can survive in various in the different conditions. Okay, and whereas temperature has one more use. Temperature also induces various activities like shedding of trees, change in the color of the leaves. Like we see during this October and November season, trees start to shed their leaves. So this activity is controlled by the temperature. So this also induces the shedding of the leaves. This also induces the shedding of the leaves and various activities. So this induces the various activities like the shedding of the leaves and the change in the color of the leaves, etc. Now, my dear students, on the basis of temperature and survival of organism, the organism are categorized on these two types. On the basis of survival, organisms are categorized into two types. They are warm-blooded animals. On the basis of temperature, organisms are categorized into two types: warm-blooded and cold-blooded animals. What are the warm-blooded animals and the cold-blooded animals? We will just see. So, my dear student, what are the warm-blooded animals? So, warm-blooded animals are the warm-blooded animals are the organism which maintain their body temperature if the condition of the outside is also changed. Suppose we humans in India, we face every type of temperature. Like it is now going rainy season, after some time it will come winter, after sometimes it will come summer. So see, we see different seasons in India. But our body maintains a temperature according to the outside climate. We humans, our body temperature is maintained according to the climate of the environment. So we are called warm-blooded animal. Why we are called warm-blooded animal? Because our body adjusts or maintain its temperature as there is a change in the, as there is even change in the temperature outside. So the organism which maintain their body temperature even though there is a temperature change in outside. So such type of animals are called warm-blooded animals. Once again I am repeating, what are warm-blooded animals? The animals which maintain their body temperature though there is a change in temperature outside. So such type of organism or such type of animals are called as warm-blooded animals. What are the examples of warm-blooded animals? Warm-blooded animals we can say mammals or birds. All the mammals and birds come under the warm-blooded animals. What are the again? What is the warm-blooded animals? The warm-blooded animals are the organism which maintain their temperature even though there is a change in temperature outside. Okay. Next, we will talk about cold-blooded animals. So, what are the cold-blooded animals? Animals whose temperature fluctuates or changes. Animals whose temperature fluctuates or whose temperature changes according to the change in temperature outside. According to the change in temperature outside. So any organism whose temperature changes as according to the change in temperature of the environment. So such type of organisms are called the cold-blooded animals. Animals whose temperature changes as with the change in the temperature in the environment. So such type of animals are called the cold-blooded animals. The examples you can see are the reptiles or the fish. Reptiles or fish. So what are the cold-blooded animals? Cold-blooded animals are the animals which changes their body temperature as with the change in the temperature in the environment. Examples are the reptiles and fish. Reptiles and fish are the examples of the cold-blooded animals. How you can say? Because you have seen during the winter season, this crocodile used to come out of the sea and to get the sunlight. Many organisms go under hibernation as they cannot survive winter. So when there is a change in temperature, like lizards, you don't see this lizards in the winter season. Why? Because they cannot survive in the winter season, so they go for the hibernation. What is a hibernation? A long sleep in the winter season is known as a hibernation. So many cold-blooded animals which cannot survive in the or whose body temperature changes in the with the change in the environment, they go for the hibernation or they changes or they maintain their temperature according. They do not maintain their temperature according to the environment. So such type of animals are called the cold-blooded animals. Example, reptiles or the fish. Okay, my dear students. So for maintaining their body temperature, they have to take certain changes in their body. Got this? Okay, next. So this was about the temperature. Next, abiotic factor which helps in the for the organism. Next abiotic factor is our air. So my dear students, this is the all this topic is we are learning from our primary classes. What is the air? Mixture of gases is known as air. What is the air? Mixture of gases is known as air. What is the air? Mixture of gases. Mixture of gases is known as air. In our environment, various types of gases are present like oxygen, carbon dioxide. Various gases are present in our environment. Nitrogen. These are some of the gases which are present in our environment. So what is the air? Air is a mixture of gases. Various types of gases are present in our environment. So these gases are very necessary. Like we have seen, what does human need to live? Human need for survival? Human intake oxygen to what does human breathe? Human take oxygen and release carbon dioxide. So for human, what is the necessary thing? For human, the necessary gas is oxygen. For human, the necessary gas is oxygen. And what does the plant need for photosynthesis? Plant need, what does the plant need? Plant need carbon dioxide for the food. Plant need carbon dioxide for their food. So in this way, the gases are responsible. If there will be no oxygen, human and many of the organisms will not be able to breathe and they may die. Whereas the plant need carbon dioxide for their preparation of the food. If there will be no carbon dioxide, we may not survive. So in this way, we can say air is the most important abiotic factor which is necessary for the survival of the biotic factors. If air will not be there, all the biotic factors may not be able to survive. Okay, next. Next important topic we are going to see is the water. What is the water? Water is a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. What is the water? What is the mixture of hydrogen and oxygen? So just like air, water is another necessary need of the living organism for their survival. What is the water? Water is another necessary need for the organism for their survival. If there will be no water, animals and organisms will not be able to survive. Why do we need water? First, see the uses of water we see in our daily life. So we need water for drinking, we need water for cooking, washing, bathing. We need water for various reasons. Okay, but what are the other uses of the water? So see, various substances are transported. Suppose the food we eat, it converted into energy. So this how energy is transported within our body. This energy is transported, or the vitamins or minerals which we receive from the food, it is how it get transported in our body. It get transported in our body with the help of water. So we can say various nutrients are transported through water. Through water. So various nutrients are transported in our body through the water. Water is also necessary for various chemical reaction in our body. Suppose when we eat food, water is needed for the digestion. So another important reason for need of water is for the various chemical reaction that takes place in our body. So various chemical reactions takes place in our body with the help of the water. Next, it also helps in maintaining the body temperature. How does water help in maintaining the body temperature? Suppose if there is too much hot in our body, our body is very hot, what will happen? We will just start to sweat. And when we will sweat, our body becomes cold. When we sweat, our body becomes cold. So, in maintaining body temperature, what is needed in maintaining the body temperature? Okay. Next important use, it also helps to remove harmful waste. So it also helps to remove the harmful waste out of our body. Suppose if we eat something and which is not required body, how it is removed through either from the urine or from the excreta. So various harmful chemicals are also, or harmful waste materials are removed from our body with the help of the urine. So these are some of the important uses of the water. Okay, so it is needed for various nutrition, transportation, for various chemical reaction, for maintaining the body temperature, and next it also helps to remove the harmful waste out of the body. Okay, so these are some of the important uses of the water. My dear students, so here I am going to end up my class for today. But what is your homework? Your homework is to just go through this chapter, and you have to complete the exercises of the page number. I will just give a I will just help to revise, but you have to just solve the exercise of page number 76 and page number 80. So you have to solve the exercise of page number 76 and page number 80. This is your homework. So write down the homework. What is your homework, my dear students? So homework is solve exercise of page 76 and 80. So this is your homework. You have to solve the exercise of page number and found out the answer of the exercise of page number 76 and 80. I will just help to solve them, but you have to first solve and answer with the exercise. Okay? Okay, my dear students, we are going to end up our class. Thank you.